A blessed good morning to you all. Well, after that little video last night, well, it was a little live stream actually, but just after that, I went in to the study and I was sat there by the laptop reading comments, and I could hear this sort of not a fluttering of wings. It sounded like a very big moth, flying round and round inside the kind of cylinder of the lamp. That's what it sounded like. And it kind of came and went, this sound, and I ended up standing up and looking round to see this little creature. And lo and behold, it wasn't a moth, it was a bat. It was the most gorgeous little bat that had obviously come in when I had the door open. And of course the back door was still wide open because it's very warm and humid here at the moment. It was absolutely gorgeous. But because I have high ceilings in the cottage, it was sort of trapped a little bit in the in the vortex of the cottage. So I made sure the back door was completely wedged wide open and the front door was wedged wide open, so there'd be a little bit of a draft going through, which might just help the bat to come down a little bit lower from the ceiling and then find its way out through the door. So I opened both the doors anyway, and then what I did, I just stepped outside the front. I took some photographs which are up on Facebook, but I just couldn't get a photograph of the bat. It was flying too fast. But it was so gorgeous. It was magical. It wasn't just gorgeous, it was magical. So eventually the little creature flew off. I felt a little bit sad when it had gone, but I just felt so blessed because I haven't been seeing many of the bats, and I think it's because the trees have grown so high and so luxurious this year. Obviously with all the carbon in the atmosphere, the trees are just loving it and they're soaking up all the food, and so the bats' little sort of feeding ground has changed slightly, and I did see a bat a week or two ago, and it was flying up and down the driveway, treating the driveway as like a feeding tunnel. So that was very interesting. But it was just so beautiful to see that wee bat, and it came right up close to me, and for that kind of nanosecond, its little eyes looked into mine. It flew that close to my head. It was wonderful. So I had a wonderful night's sleep because I just felt very sort of I won't say loved, but just cared for. It was gorgeous, really gorgeous. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. I'm talking to myself most of the time here, aren't I? So I'm going to take you on a little walk shortly, but I am just finishing off my coffee, and I've boiled 2 lots of water in the little Kelly kettle over there. Can you see it? And using just little bits of wood that I gathered yesterday when I was further down the garden, clearing the pathways, because of course all I have to do now here at Bealtaine Cottage, well, besides all the stuff that I find to make, I actually make work for myself, but it's just keeping the pathways open. So I want to say a big shout out to Sue Johnson this morning. Sue, thank you so much. I feel more and more blessed with the support I get from everyone. I mean, thank you, all of you who support Bealtaine Cottage. And those who can't afford to support Bealtaine Cottage, I understand that too, because my goodness, I was in a very fiscally challenged place for a long time, many years. But just thank you for supporting by coming here and subscribing and sharing the videos and communicating. Communication is everything. I do read all of your comments. I read every single one, and I only answer a few because, of course, I'm no longer fiscally challenged, but I am time challenged. I don't really have all the time that I used to have. Although, I'm saying that, but of course I was busy doing crafts and, God, I was making soap, I was making candles, I was spinning, I was weaving, I was knitting, crocheting, doing a lot of stuff to get a little market stall going one day a week, growing herbs in pots. It was the most eclectic little market stall, and on reflection, of course, I was forever critical of it, thinking, oh, have I got enough stuff this week? Should I do this or do that? But on reflection, it was a lovely little space, and I did enjoy it, and I would never know until the end of the day whether I'd cobbled together enough funds to keep things going. But anyway, so today I'm going to go down to Sligo and get an external hard drive. I have one, but like I said last night, my son-in-law got me that to put all the photographs on, which I've done, although it continually needs to back up. And of course, you see, I did buy, in fact it cost me 99 cents a month, iCloud space. I've got 50 gigabytes of iCloud space, but the darn stuff won't upload to iCloud because I don't have a steady oh, what was that sound? I don't have the the internet stuff. But I'm going to see I say I'm going to see my daughter and my son-in-law in Belfast soon. Actually, I'm not going to see them at all. I'm going to see my granddaughter, who's just a little peach. And they have really good coverage up there. So I'll spend a couple of days there and just leave the laptop open so everything can upload to iCloud. Yeah, it's just beautiful sitting here this morning. There's the sun making an appearance. Oh, I can hear the horse. There's a neighbour, lives a good half-mile in that direction, and their daughter keeps a beautiful horse, and it's up on the hill there, roaming through the fields. What a lovely life. So every so often, if the wind is in the right direction, I hear it neighing, calling. Now, I'm almost ready to get myself up and go for a wee walk with you. I laughed and laughed last night when I realised the title I'd given that video. It was in all innocence. It was really me thinking, have you been contacted, by YouTube? But when I then looked at the title on my site, have you been contacted? And I think it was Helen. I think Helen, you said, you thought it was, have you been contacted from the mothership? And I thought, oh gosh, there's going to be an awful lot of UFO seekers clicking on that title and being incredibly disappointed. But it was very funny. Have you been contacted? Where was my head at? I think I was sort of in a wee bit of a panic mode because I thought, oh my goodness, YouTube are going to ban me. Yeah. Right, okay, I don't want this video to be so long that I can't, that I need to spend hours here to get it uploaded. So let me see, it's 11 minutes now. Okay, Jack, we'll go for a wee dander. So, now I must just show you, look at the aloe vera down there. That was a pot of aloe vera that I had in the cottage, and I normally put it out each summer in a wee sheltered space. And it's had lots and lots of babies, so I'm going to be dividing that up and making lots and lots of little plants and putting them back into the cottage then for the cooler time of the year. I'll have another wee sip of this. Oh, that's lovely. Right, okay. So, all my little plants along there are coming along well. Actually, when I was showing you those the other day, I didn't mention the bay tree. Oh, and look at the sweet peas. We're going to see some flowers there soon. I've pinched out the tops to kind of get them growing from let me just take that wee bit off there. Yeah, just to kind of thicken them up. So we're going to see some nice flowers on there soon. Right, Jack, you've been very patient. Let's go. Where should we start? Should we go for this way, Jack? Oh, look. This fig tree has just gone berserk. My berserk fig tree. Lost the run of itself entirely. I mean, it's massive, look. And all the fruits on it. And it's still growing out of that half barrel that it shares with all that euphorbia and the roses. Anyway, let's get going. There's Jack saying, oh God, she stopped again for another bit of talking to herself. There's a wee butterfly. That's beautiful to see. Looks like a wee cabbage white, doesn't it? So we'll go over this way. So I've done a bit of clearing here on these paths. Again, just to keep them open. And we've got the Crocosmia montbretia opening up now. And the Leucestria formosa, which is known locally as the pheasantberry bush. That's looking grand. And you can see I've been keeping these paths open. And this one, though I could be a little bit more severe in my cutting back, but actually I just try to be as gentle as possible. Now all these bits here, I'm going to be putting those through the shredder, because they'll be ideal coverage for my compost toilet. And you can see here I've just done masses of chop and drop, and that should kind of clear a space in there for me once it all biodegrades. So you can see lots and lots. And along here, the Lunacy garden is completely feral. It's enjoying itself. No, I didn't even get the chance to hang up those herbs, but I'm going to use them for burning anyway. In the same way as we used, the sage. Look at this penstemon. Isn't that beautiful? lovely scents in here. Gorgeous. So you can see that's just one of the compost heaps. I've got several more going now around the garden. Made little heaps everywhere. That heap there is beginning to biodegrade rather nicely. This one was topped up yesterday. You can see all the Russian kale. Everything looking very happy and healthy. Jack! We'll go off this way and down the driveway. And look at all the beautiful flowers coming on the Crocosmia Montbretia. Look at that. That's just delightful. Right, Jack, let's go this way. Of course, lots of the beautiful oregano. And the beautiful, beautiful scents. Oh, it's lovely. And look at this, all the black currants. So I'm just doing enough to keep the paths open, which of course is rather a lot. But I was working quite ferociously down the ways. Look at my beautiful buddleia. Haven't seen many butterflies yet. Now we started off the year, I think it was back in March and April, I seen quite a few butterflies. So I'm hoping now that August will bring them in, because they seem to have like two separate little generative seasons. So I've really cleared all the all the valerian and the oxeye daisies which had gone over from the rustic bed here, and you can see now there's another sort of little harvest of flowers and plants coming along here. And I've also done the same over here, giving that a jolly good clear. So you can see how the oxeye daisies go. I need to clear these. That's the little variegated holly that I planted up in that basket. Do you remember back at the beginning of the year? And it's really enjoyed its time in the basket. I've got to just show you this, because the golden oregano is flowering. And of course that's much to be loved. When I say be loved, of course it's all the insects, but the bees are the ones that we're made aware of all the time. So let's go on down. See, I'm dillying and dallying, which I don't mean to do, but this is what happens here at Bealtaine. Your eyes drawn all the time to life. Isn't that lovely, the white buddleia? And I could bring you up round the side. Oh, I will bring you up round the side. Here we go. So I've got the hydrangea flowers coming out now. That hydrangea is in that big pot, because the hydrangea is like acid soil, and I don't specifically have acid soil here. So that pot's filled with acid soil. I am so delighted with the Boston ivy. Look how it's clinging and growing. Very happy with that. More buddleia here. Fuchsia in the corner. We're heading off now down the drive. You see buddleia just peeking out from there. That's one of the little hypericums. Look, you see I put that in there. I haven't even put soil around it yet. I must remember to do that today. Doesn't seem to mind any of it as long as it's on a damp base. Look at that lovely fuchsia peeping out there. And beautiful bees. There we go. The bees love the fuchsia. They absolutely love it. I think the fuchsia in Ireland has been a lifesaver for the wild bees. So what I did eventually get round to trimming back a little bit of the buddleia down here, but only the flowers that had gone over. So as I cut them off and trimmed out some of the dead wood, the whole shrub lifted. So I can get my car under it anyway. But none of those big SUVs will be able to dodge it. So just see the battery time I have left here. 49 minutes, okay. And we're up at 20 minutes, so I think it's going to cut off at just under 30. So this was the first path. Jack, let's go up this way. This was the first path, look, that I concentrated on because I actually couldn't get in here. And this is amazing because 15 years ago this was squelchy bog. And the path now is a nice dry path, and you can see I've put chop and drop down because that helps to build up the path, and it kind of lifts the path up out of the damp ground around it. So I came along here and crowned this tree a little bit. And of course now I can actually see the pond. Look at that pondweed. I'm going to be in here I think for quite a few weeks. I'll have to have people come and make me tea and bring me down pots of tea as I wade about the pond pulling out that weed. I've got to say though, I quite enjoy it. It's become like an annual task, and the benefit of having the pondweed in here, you see, is that when we have these incredibly hot, dry spells, the droughts that go on for so long, this pondweed keeps the integrity of the water below it and allows the water to remain nicely cool, so the life that's in there doesn't suffer. So that's a huge benefit. You can see all the nettles growing up around here because of course I take the pondweed out and I throw it up along the banks, and so there's an incredible amount of fertility now on the banks of the pond. So it's very interesting how we can work with nature. Look at this piece of willow going out that way. So I'm going to just take the branches off at the end, trim that down a wee bit. Though I won't trim this back, but it'll just lift it. And you can see here I've done the chop and drop, you see. And again, it's all about helping to create those pathways. Now, the Gunera, originally I had one plant, and I did actually divide it up, and I've planted it in various little spots. It's very restricted. It can't actually spread itself because it just doesn't have the room to do that. So I've put a few bits in some spots. You can see just along here as well. And it's a rather nice shade-giving plant, which of course is essential, again, for these hot, dry, almost merciless heat waves that we get. Nice to see the spring well is running. Look, this is the one of course up in the fairy wood, not the one that feeds the cottage. And you can see from here the extent of the work I'm going to be involved in. I think at some point though, and this is how it's going to go, at some point this pond is going to be allowed to do what it wants to do, which I think will end up being a continuous stream. And I won't be unhappy or anything about that, because there will be pools along the stream which will allow the life that likes water to flourish. And of course there's nothing to stop me digging out bigger pools along here, you know, that will keep a certain integrity. Like this one here, you see, this one never went completely dry. So over the 15 years that pond has been there, I've been able to harvest the pondweed with the silt attached to its roots every year, and that has been so important in the creating of all this space. And you can see down here there's a beautiful soil now, lovely rich soil. So this is where I was clearing, because of course it was very, very dense. It was like this, and I've been doing chopping, and I've built up a pile over there, which is all good. I'm just going to keep going, by the way, until this cuts out, and then here we go. Opened up space. Go along this way now. Opened up this space. This was completely closed in. Couldn't get through. And the stream bed is still dry. But of course that'll start running once we get more rain. And there's quite a good harvest of the Gunera here now, because the original Gunera died out completely. So this is the secondary one from the mother plant. All this will be cut back, and again, fantastic for composting. So let's go on down the driveway, and I'll show you then down here. I was clearing up down by the gate, because when I was driving out from here I couldn't actually see the road. And look at the hypericum here, isn't this beautiful? And the hebes, isn't that just fab? And of course all the beautiful, very tightly, closely planted trees and shrubs, and all doing well. They like to be together. Look at this. Oh, there's bees above me there on the fuchsia. Then down here by the little entrance, got lots of hypericum and Shasta daisies and spirea. And here's the beautiful Leicester formosa, which is not just flowering but now seeding. And these little fruits are much loved by the blackbirds. These are the ones that when you squash them, they give a scent of vanilla chocolate. So cleared this little space here, so cut back all the laurel there, so I can now see when I'm coming out of the driveway. And the same here, I've cut back a fair bit of what was kind of shrubby things there by the yellow loosestrife. So now I can see to safely get out of the driveway. So there we go. Now 28 minutes, coming up on 29. So I'm just going to pull back so you can see the entrance, and I've cleared all the stuff from round the post box, and of course I've also tidied up along the roadway, the roadside verge, and I'm going to be taking out a bit more of this rubus, just kind of dropping the level of it. But at the moment the bees are on it because they're going crazy for the flowers, and then the flowers very quickly become fruit, and at that point then I'm going to leave it until the birds have the fruits, and then I'll bring it down in height. So there we go. So blessings to you all, and we'll go back in now and get ready to hoof it off down to Sligo.